Call number 51, special guest, Aquino, back again. I think we was here maybe 2 weeks ago. But
Yeah.
for me, what we talked about last time was a lot about his story, a lot about, getting started on Walmart. But what I wanted to talk about today is actually sourcing for Walmart, what that looks like, how it differs from Amazon. He happens to sell on both platforms. Also wanted to give him an opportunity to talk about why he's going long on Walmart. He sells on both, but he's really bullish on Walmart. And so we're going to talk about that today. And then it goes where it goes. And then obviously we'll be back later tonight in about an hour with the live stream because it's Q4 and we got to hang out, and the hangout's been really great. So back again, Aquino. Thank you for coming to the call. Second time guest. Regular now. I love it. It's like we met and then all of a sudden you're on the calls, you're in the group chats. It's just like we've been together for years, man. I love it. Absolutely love it, man.
Yeah, man. The call is value. The call really is value. And I think for anyone who's like in this space, like you're going through, or I would say like I wouldn't consider myself a guru or whatever the case is, but like I'm making some money. And I'm getting some stuff sold, but I've been in the space where like I didn't know what to buy and I didn't know what to do. And then starting to network with people, starting to talk to people, kind of start giving me ideas, right? Start kind of giving me like a pointer, like where to look, what to do. So yeah, man, like since we started chopping it up, since we met in the store, and then linking up with all the guys, like getting in contact with the group chat, it's been a little bit like a elevation, you know what I mean? So I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, and I would say, it's funny. I just made a post on school today, guy Scott, and he's just been killing it recently. And it was funny. It happens to be about me, but it's just the truth. And Miles preaches it too. He was like, "Yeah, man, since I took your advice about networking, my sales have been through the roof." He spent the last 6 months really doing outreach, and the thing about just not even us, like our community we know is great, but the Amazon community in general is just really solid. And then what we have in our group chats, there's multiple people on here and multiple group chats I'm in. The group chats are great. They're informative. They're going to help you with section 3s, with leads, with anything you have. Like last night on the live stream, I was asking about my freaking label printer, right? You could ask questions about anything, and the ability to find stuff you don't know, I mean, there's just a ton of it. So, hey, tap in if you want to. If not, you're just missing out. But all right, so let's talk about Walmart. We're going to get into sourcing, but let's just spend a little bit of time up front. When I met you, we were talking Amazon, talking Walmart. And as we got together, we did more sourcing. We went out together. You've really impressed upon me that you thought Walmart was a really great opportunity. I want you to spend a little bit of time talking about why it's a great opportunity. You got people who are selling a little bit on Walmart, selling a decent amount on Walmart, or haven't even considered Walmart. What would you say to those people to kind of get them on the train, like they're on a train for Amazon?
Yeah, so Walmart, I kind of got stumbled into Walmart like halfway into the year. Started off April, right? So April this year is when I basically started putting my item, got my application in and got approved. And the reason for that was I was selling on Amazon for like 2.5 years, and then last year in Q4 I got shut down. So after figuring it out, starting spending some money, the entire October, November, I got a section 3 that basically deactivated my account. So the entire Q4 last year, I didn't make $1. I didn't make a sale. So I had at the time, I believe it was like $35,000 worth of payout pending, right? So my money was basically stuck in Amazon the entire Q4. And funny story, the second week in January is when they released my account. But then a buddy of mine basically told me after I got my account back and I started making back sales, like, hey man, like you need to diversify your money, right? Like make sure that you're not putting your eggs in one basket. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever. Get into the Walmart business and let me see how it goes. So got introduced to the Walmart. And just like probably everyone, right? Like I know we probably see the success on Amazon because we could see the data and then we see an item and it could tell us, okay, this item sells 100 times a month. And we like, okay, I'm gung-ho and I'm gonna buy this and I'm gonna make the sale once I get the, the pricing right and the buy box. But after I start working with Walmart, I realized like I don't have the data as much as I have on Amazon, but I was able to find way more products to sell on Walmart than I was selling on Amazon. And the reason for that is just because, Amazon does have their very strict policies of gating and IP alerts and all that kind of thing. Comparison to Walmart basically gets you into the category, right? So obviously they had the big shutdown couple weeks ago where they kind of like refreshed and got rid of all of like the bad sellers, and had you kind of submit documentation. But no, like Walmart, you're able to sell a lot more items, a lot more SKUs, a lot more item IDs, because they basically give you access to categories. So with that, I felt like it was way easier at the time. I didn't have that much time to do like sourcing, like spend a lot of time like doing RA like for hours and so I was basically running into stores and hoping to find things, within like a short period of time, within an hour. Then I started realizing I'm finding stuff quite easy for Walmart, right? In comparison to Amazon, I might find an item, it's a great selling item, but then I have to put it back because either I'm gated in the item, or the item is gonna give me some kind of IP complaint or whatever the case is. So don't get me wrong, Walmart does have the whole IP situation. They does have their intellectual property flags that they do or whatever the case is. But it's way less of a threat to your account than for one item than it is for Amazon for one item off your account, right? So it can be a $2 item that you sold on Amazon, and they will shut down your $100,000 account because they say, hey, this particular item is defective or whatever the case is. Or the funny thing is like a customer review might be something that really gets your account kind of like stuck. So once I start figuring that piece out from the Walmart marketplace and I start selling and I realize it's kind of easier to find items, number one. Number two, it's like, yeah, you do get like IP complaints or whatever the case is like that on Walmart as well, but they will just let you take the item down, right? Versus Amazon, if you have something, it's at FBA and then you have an IP complaint, you're not getting that item back. That item is getting quote unquote disposed of, right? I learned after that when they dispose the item, they basically liquidate it and they sell it. So it's not good for you to sell it, but Amazon is gonna sell it at a discounted price, right? They don't just toss it to the garbage. But no, like the introduction to Walmart was very good for me. And then I was able to list so much items in a short period of time. And that kind of made me feel a little bit comfortable, like, okay, I can sell some items there. And then yeah, Walmart don't have that much data as Amazon does, right? And that can be a deterrent for some people, because they're what they learn from Amazon is like to look at the data and define an item, whatever the case is. But everyday item sells on Walmart really, really well, really, really, really well. And a big selling point for me on Walmart is the buy box, right? The share of the buy box. It's a game changer, man. It's really a game changer. On Amazon, like you can find an item, it's profitable, and somebody else finds it down the road and they found it $5 cheaper than you, they're able to lower their price, right? But if you found it for 10 and you're selling it for 20, and somebody found it for 5, and then they're selling it for 15, then you're losing. You're losing $5, but that person is able to make. Amazon lets that person keep low in the buy box because Amazon literally, just wants to kind of get that sale. Walmart basically have a better control on the buy box, right? So I've had situation where my buy box basically goes up, and they will like send me notification like, hey, you're missing the buy box. And when I'm looking at the buy box, the item was selling for $20. Now I sell it for 25. So I could lift my price up, right? Without a repricer. So that's the reason I'm kind of like really bullish on that Walmart piece. The platform is kind of seamless. Obviously they have their bumps and bruises in the road or whatever the case is, but I feel a lot more comfortable selling on Walmart than I sell on Amazon.
So when we talk about, so anything else, like, I mean, I think you covered a lot of it, but anything else, like we think about like uploading products or I don't know, I'm trying to think of like what other friction there might be with Amazon if there isn't with Walmart that we might want to cover.
So like sending items to like WFS is 50% of the, like, it's you save 50% of the time when you send an item to WFS compared to FBA. When you're sending your items to FBA, you have to basically let Amazon know, hey, I'm putting this light in this box. I'm putting this lotion in this box. Like box number 3 has 5 lotion. Box number 4 has 5 envelopes, like whatever the case is. And you kind of get penalized when you mess up, right? And then your inventory gets screwed up. Sending your inventory to WFS, all you do is like you load the items up on the platform and say, hey, I'm sending in 20 SKUs, 200 items, right? And then you pack it in whatever box, right? Whatever box, like 10 boxes. All right, I'm packing everything in 10 boxes, and you send that in. The only thing you need to let them know is either box A is a mixed item IDs in there, like multiple items, or it's just a single ASIN. So that's the first thing. Sending your item in is way easier. The second thing is, I lost $9,000. Well, I didn't lose it. Amazon lost $9,000 on my product, right? Like it was $4,000, but the value basically was going to be like $9,000. When they lost it in one of their FCs, I had to do a claim. Everybody know how the claim process works, right? You let them know like, hey, my stuff got delivered, right? And it's in your FC. And like it just went from 100 units down to 0, no sales, right? So, hey, this is the claim, this is the item ID, this is the shipment ID, whatever the case is. It got to this RTW5, whatever the case is, on that day, went from 100% in stock to 0% in stock in a week. Somebody lost my pallet. The pallet was lost. Amazon made me feel like I stole the pallet because they wanted me to submit documentation, right? Like, where did you buy it? How much did you send? Can you verify that it actually got sent, and all of that stuff? So that was a headache that basically went along for months up to today. I haven't gotten it. I just kind of like let it go. Same situation will happen at Walmart, right? You send your inventory in. They haven't lost the pallet on mine yet, but let's say I sent in 400 units and they checked in 350 units, right? That 50 units that are missing, I open a case and say, hey, Walmart, you lost 50 units is missing from my shipment. All they ask you to do is just to verify that the items like was sent in, like, and all you gotta do is just basically say, hey, well, I sent in 15 of this item, 10 of this item, and they will just go investigate to see what happened with the item. If they can't figure it out within a week or two, they pay you whatever the selling price for that item is. So they don't question you and say, hey, where did you buy it? Did you buy it from an authorized distributor? Like, that has nothing to do with the actual situation. You got my product, you lost it, now you're paying for it. And Walmart would just pay you, right? So that 50 units that was missing from my shipment, they will say, hey, well, item A cost $10. You had it on your buy, you have it for your selling price as $10, even though I paid $4 for it. They're gonna pay me what the actual selling price that I had it listed for. So let's say I was missing 50 units that will all go for like $10, right? They would now pay me 50 times 10 minus the fees, right? So let's say the shipping, the FBA fee, the WFS fees was, you know, $3 per item or whatever the case is. They will kind of do that math, and they will basically say, hey, well, we're gonna now pay you out $7 per item, whatever the case is. So 50 times 7, like $350 will just come to my pocket, right? Without going through hassles and stuff like that. So that's the next piece where it's so much easier to deal with like them on the issues that you may have, like once you're sending your items into WFS. What else I could think about? Yeah, like dealing with seller center, seller support, I think to me is by far way easier than Amazon helpers, right? Like the Amazon helpers, they follow a script, like legitimately follow a script. Like their response to you within 2 seconds of you asking a question is a whole paragraph that just tells you that they're clicking buttons to answer the question, right? But I feel like, and don't get me wrong, you can find a good seller support that you can kind of get in contact with. You talk to them and they kind of like help you figure something out. But then the because there's so much Amazon sellers, like I don't think they give you the time that you really need to make that happen, to like fix your problem, right? They follow the script. If it's not part of the script, like the receipt, the invoice could be as authentic as my Caribbean accent, and they don't give a damn, right? They don't care. Versus you can talk to someone in Walmart, right? You can really talk to the seller support. Like there's someone working on your case, they'll let you know what's wrong, they'll tell you whatever the case is. But I don't feel like they're being douchebags when they're dealing with your case. And the biggest thing too is like Walmart would accept a receipt, right? And I know I just learned like Amazon sometimes will take a receipt if you basically scan it in, but I have not had that luck, right? They don't take retail receipts, they take invoices. So I think that was like another game changer, because a lot of us source in stores, right? We go to Target, we go to Sam's, we go to BJ's, Costco, like whatever the case is. They don't really issue you invoices, right? They give you like receipts, right? So you can take that receipt and show proof of purchase, and Walmart 9 out of 10 times they will accept that as your proof of purchase. So it's just the process is so much easier. And one of the biggest selling point for me is, and I know like the incentive that Walmart gave for the first year was to me a big bonus. Everybody here probably sells on Amazon. When you sign up on Amazon, you basically have to figure this out, right? Like, hey, either you're on YouTube trying to learn something, or you're learning by errors, right? You're effing up, and then you're figuring out, okay, well, I can't list that item if it says IP, right? But Walmart, I don't know, I don't know how they did it, but for me, they gave me an account manager, right? they kind of pulled me in and put me in like an incubator program where they saw my sales from Amazon and they selected my account and they said, hey, now you have an account manager. And that account manager basically walked me through for the first 6 months. Then basically she's going to be with me for a year, but I had a data analyst for 6 months, someone that was able to like look at my reports, look at my my metrics, like let me know like, hey, something is shifting here, like you need to kind of like fix this or create a plan of action that like so I can submit it on your behalf, so then they don't really shut your account down or like suspend you. Let's say, for example, like I had issues with my my OTD, like my OTD was messed up, right? And it's like I don't know what to do, but guess what? That person was able to let me know, like, hey, take a look at your shipping settings and see whatever your shipping lag time is like, and from that I was able to fix it within the next day, and my account was not even shut down for like dropping below a 90% OTD. I don't even think that you can do that at Amazon. Like it's just the metrics. The metric speaks. If it doesn't fit their criteria, then you either get suspended, and then you need to find a way to like plead and beg to them how to kind of like get back on board. So that's some of the things outside of like selling easy that I think really works well for a seller, and especially I would tell the inexperienced sellers, like the people who's trying to get into selling on Amazon and not really doing crazy numbers, but you kind of like want to have an idea of like what to sell, what, you know, you're finding items, but you don't have the time to like go dig and like find like bangers like 100, 1,000 times a month items and stuff like that. Like if you start selling on Walmart, you can turn some inventory way faster than you can try to find an item that is selling 1,000 times a month on Amazon. Definitely think so.
And before we get into sourcing specifically, actually, and I think you told me about this, or I don't know, maybe it was Paolo. One of you guys told me about it, but the $2,000 ad credit.
Yep.
I just turned that on like the other day. I was like, holy crap. Like I don't have a ton of inventory, but I'm like, this is kind of dope.
Yeah, so that's the thing, man. So Walmart, they don't give you the data like Amazon tells you, like, okay, this item sells 100 times a month. So what I look for and what I was taught to look for, you look at the reviews, right? So Walmart does a lot of advertising, right? And it does a lot of self-advertising as well. So there's something called an SEM, right? Search engine, whatever that is, SEM. So they give you $2,000 for your first year for you to advertise the products that you're finding. So you can find an item and the data don't really say that it sells 1,000 times a month or 100 times a month or 50 times a month. But if you start using that money that they give you, free money that they give you, and say, hey, I'm going to advertise that product. Now they push that product to the top of their page, right? They push that product to Google, they push that product wherever they advertise that for you. So your item will just be on the top page for someone. So let's say someone was looking for like some kind of supplement, right? And they search in supplement, because you're doing the SEM, because you're using that money that they give you to advertise, that advertise spend, then your item would definitely be added to the top. Like when you go on to Walmart.com, you can basically see that item if that's something that you're searching for, right? So like without having the data behind it, you can literally still make money with an item. So that's one way. The second way that like you can basically be part of their deals, right? And Amazon does it too, but they don't really advertise it for you like that, right? On the platform where, hey, go put up a deals. If you could drop your item like 10%, 15%, we will advertise it for you. Like we will push it for you. So with Walmart, let's say I'm selling an item for $20, as long as I can lower my price, because obviously too, Walmart, they they want you to sell stuff cheap as well, but not to the point where, like, you know, you don't have to do it. Like, you don't have to say, well, I'm gonna really drop my item 50% just for it to kind of like get advertised. But if you have that wiggle room, like if you find an item, and I've done that a lot, like finding items in Marshalls, Burlington, like, you know, this place, grocery outlet, key, right? Like, go to grocery outlet, I find something for $3.99. It's selling on Walmart for $20, right? Obviously, when I want to sell it, if I want to move it fast, I can put it on deals, right? Putting it on deals, if the buy box is $20, I can literally go and say, okay, I can drop my price 15%, right? Drop my price at 15%. 15% will just probably take off $2, $3 off that item, right? Now that item is an advertised item by Walmart. So Walmart basically helps you push that item. So I've sold hundreds of like candies and stuff like that I found at Marshalls by literally just finding it, seeing what the buy box is, and then I'll say, okay, week 44, I'm gonna add my particular item on deals. Let's say I had 100 of it, right? I go in and scooped up every one of it from like Marshalls or whatever the case is, or I buy something from a distributor. If I get it for cheap and I say the buy box is basically high, and I say, well, I can afford to lose 15% of that item. So typically they will do like 15 to 20% discount from the average selling price. So basically last 30 days. So they don't want you to just shoot up the price. And then when the deals come down, it's showing that, you know, you're discounted. They basically looked at if that item has been selling for $20 for the last 30 days. And then you want to kind of put it on deals. They advertise your product, man. And if you guys look at Walmart.com right now, you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see a whole bunch of deals advertised. You click on the deals based on the categories. Your item will basically get advertised, and it will be you going to be the first person to get the buy box, right? Because so somebody hit that item because you're the one that did the deals for that price drop, you will get that sale. So that to me has been key. I haven't got support like that on Amazon, like in the 2.5 years, right? Have not got support, and it sucks that I'm saying that because I'm wearing Amazon clothes right now. But I worked for Amazon for a very long time, like 9 years. But on the seller side, like I definitely see it, man. It's very much you can do well once you kind of figure it out. But you have to figure it out. For the people that trying to like get on board, if you don't have that time to invest to kind of like figure it out, you can kind of put yourself into a situation where you lose money, you lose interest, and then you just basically just say, I don't want to do it no more. So I think from the support that you get from the Walmart side, it kind of makes you feel like, okay, you can do that for a longer period of time. And then the same thing, man, is like in 2 years on Amazon right now, I probably have 100 and something ASINs, probably like less than 50% of that are active ASINs. On Walmart, I basically have 500 and something active items, right? Because you can do a lot of test buys, right? And like one of the process that I have right now is just replenishing items. Like I showed you, Omar, like I go into Sam's and I see the item in Sam's. I, instead of buying a pallet of it off, like, you know, if I see it sells well, I will buy a couple, right? See how it sells, sorry. And then I could start, just keep going for that item, right? Just keep trying to find that item at the same price and just keep replenishing it. I think that allowed me to just keep finding more and more item, and just went from just like having like high-low sales, because at Amazon, you find an item, it sells well, you're able to list it, you list it, that item sells out. So you'll see my daily sales will be looking like this on Amazon in the past, right? I do 1,000 today, 500 tomorrow, 300 the next day, 1,000 that day. Like, so it's like up and down, where consistently, if you find items on Walmart that are basically everyday items, stuff that's gonna sell, you have way more ASINs. You can basically have a consistent like sales on a daily basis. Like, so you can basically guarantee like, okay, well, I'll hit $1,000 a day easy, right? Because you have so much of these items. And then one item might not sell today, but then it sells tomorrow. 5 of it sells tomorrow, but then you have so much ASINs that you're able to get your money back like really fast, in my opinion.
Right. So on the sourcing side, so let's get into sourcing, right? So Walmart for me is a little bit harder, and it's been easier to understand that, now that I'm going out with you, looking at things, and watching your process, and even you started to talk a little bit about the test buys, but I think, well, let's just say, because not everybody knows Walmart or the systems and how things work. So with Amazon, we understand that basically the foundational software support that any seller is going to need is going to be Seller Amp, and it's going to be Keepa, right?
Yeah.
We understand that they are the industry leaders. They're going to give you the best data basically that you can find, and most people are going to use that, and it's pretty solid data. The estimates are questionable, but even you can see some of that on Amazon when they have the listings like, 50 sold in the last month, 1,000, whatever. But on Walmart, you have Martyr, and I think there's a Keepa variant or whatever, but there's just not great data. The apps that are available are not great. Now, SourceDart did just drop, which is a really massive upgrade to the system, but they're brand new. Martyr is just, it feels, kind of a bit clunky and old. How do you get around the lack of data? How do you source and find products that make sense?
So yeah, I dealt with the same roadblock in the earlies, but then I have a buddy in Chicago does like 10K a day, right, on Walmart. And so when I kind of hit him up and ask him like, yo, I'm really trying to scale on Walmart, but like, we don't have the data, right? And he's like, you got effing Keepa. And I was like, what you mean? He's like, find the item that sells 1,000 times a month on Amazon and look and see if you can add it on Walmart. So because Walmart is very much competitive, right? They also look at that Amazon data, right? So if that item sells on Amazon and you don't have the data, but you can guarantee that item will sell on Walmart. So you might not know if it's going to sell 1,000 times a month. And that's where you kind of control your spend, right? So, and that's why it's kind of cool for test buys, because if I see an item selling for 1,000 times a month on Amazon, and then I look at the data and there's two sellers or whatever the case is, and I need to buy, now I'm going heavy, right? I'm going heavy. I'm looking, if I'm getting it from like from a site or whatever the case is, that I can buy 100, 200, 300, I'm going that heavy because I know, hey, I can really get the buy box here and I can win it. Do that in the opposite here. When you're looking at Walmart, right, and you find an item and you want to list it as well, right? You look and you see, okay, well, is Amazon selling that item? If Amazon is selling that item, how well is the item selling? If that item is selling 1,000 times a month on Amazon, there's a possibility that it will sell well as well on Walmart. You might not know if it's going to sell 1,000 times a month, but I guarantee you, if you start doing the test buy and you say, okay, well, I'm going to buy 10 of that item, you see how fast it sells, then you kind of make that decision. Okay, this item is selling, is moving fast. Let me buy some more. Let me start adding more, right? So that's what I started to do. I started looking to see how the items are selling. And then I can know whether or not I can list it on Walmart. So that puts me in the advantage, right? So being an Amazon seller and a Walmart seller, I'm basically sourcing for two platforms at the same time, right? Obviously, Amazon is a quick seller. I know if I find something with good data, I can kind of get it bounced out. But when I'm buying now, like I will buy for Amazon, and then I will say, okay, well, let me search and see if it's selling on Walmart, right? It's selling on Walmart. if I was gonna buy 20, now I'm buying 30, right? I'm saying 20 gonna sell on Amazon, and I can guarantee that. Let me take an extra 10, see how it's gonna move. And then when I'm listing, okay, where the data is gonna show, okay, it's gonna sell faster. I'm putting, okay, I'm listing it on Amazon. I'm saying I'm putting 20 there. Then I'm listing it on Walmart, and I'm listing 10 there. Who sells the fastest? That's how I'm shifting my volume, right? So I have things here in my house here that I bought and I'm listing on both platforms. And then whoever's selling the fastest and whoever's giving me the best profit, I'm moving the rest of the inventory over, right? So them Christmas, what's it called? The cookie house, the gingerbread house we bought, Omar. Yep. And when I took the whole pattern, because I saw it was selling both, right? I was making more profit-wise on Walmart, but it was selling faster for like $2 or $3 cheaper on Amazon. So now that I saw that, okay, it's moving on both places, but I'm getting it sell faster on Amazon. The ones that I bought for Walmart, I just stopped minimizing it until everything was basically sold out. So that's basically how I do it. Just kind of be able to source for both has been able to like make me source faster, because like I'm filling up my cart. I don't care where it goes. I know I'm selling it. I'm selling it on a platform. So even when I'm sourcing online, obviously using Seller Amp, you can kind of like go through a website, right? You scrape a website, you scrape an item on a website. You might not be able to find the UPC for that item, but there's a process that I have, right? So I will search the item, use Seller Amp because it has the data, then get the UPC from Seller Amp for that item, then check it in Martyr, right? When I check it in Martyr, then I see, okay, well, it's selling on Amazon, it's selling on Walmart, and then what the data look like behind it. So it's not that difficult. It's really not that difficult. And I think the ability to kind of like kill these two birds with one stone, and like with one sit down or whatever the case is, I've been able to like buy things faster, right? Get things faster. The next way more important piece is like I've gotten either like a IP issue with an item on Walmart, on Amazon, where they're like, yeah, you can't sell this item no more. And guess what? Take that same item, go to Walmart, see that it's selling, and sell it all out without any issues. So it's key to like really and truly diversify and be able to like have both. I'm not here just to say like, okay, well, just leave Amazon, right? Clearly. But I think having both is very much beneficial if you're a reseller.
And so do you do anything do you do any like list now, buy now, later? Or excuse me, I'm like all messed up. List now, buy later when you sell it. Do you do any of that? That's what I meant.
Nah, but let me tell you this new thing that I started doing. So these big box stores, right? Like the Costco's, the Sam Club, the BJ's, like everyone has these stores within like 15 minutes. I don't know where, like people have it within a short distance. For me, I have a BJ's 5 minutes away. I have a Costco 5 minutes away. I got Costco Business Center 20 minutes away. What I do is, and the reason I don't do that, as you say, list now and buy later, is because I don't want to have to deal with a situation where, like, let's say I list an item and I say I have 10 other items, and then the 10 items sold, and then I kind of have to go try to find the item, and then I realize, okay, it's sold out, right? I think that's risky, in my opinion. But what I do is I will list the item by a low quantity, right? A low quantity of that item, and then know, okay, and I did this just today. God is my witness. I was in BJ's before I picked my son up, and I just went to do a return. And then right at the front of the door, like saw 5 items that I, not 5, like 4 items that I basically scanned. And then I just said, let me walk into the candy aisle or whatever. Then I found another two chocolates. I don't have the data, but I know obviously the brand, I cannot sell it on Amazon because as soon as I scanned it, they say, hey, show me an invoice for 400. And I just said, all right, leave it alone. Scanned it and I saw it was on Walmart. I bought 2 of each. I kid you not. By the time I get to the traffic light, leaving BJ's, right? I listed it in the store, right? And I picked up 2. I bought 2. By the time I got to the traffic light, which was like 2-3 minutes down the road, I heard the alarm go off. Like I got a sale. And then I'm like, holy ish, right? So that's another thing that I do. I will go into the big box stores, like the stores that I know there's a pallet of that item, right? I've done it in Target too, but in the seasonal area when I see like they have a shit ton of that item, I will buy few. And the reason I will buy it and not just, and that will probably work for someone that doesn't have that much of capital. And I will basically tell anyone who does not have that much capital that they can do that process. If you can't buy 50 of an item or 20 of an item, but you can buy 2 or 3 and see how it sells, and you can flip that item fast, then that's the best thing to do, right? Go into the stores, trying to find the item. The item will basically kind of be like, you'll basically be able to, let's say you buy 5 of that item from the pallet, right? You go home with it, then you realize the item is selling fast. Then you can do a couple things. You can literally just go now and say, okay, the item is selling. Let me now buy it online, right? And do an in-store pickup or whatever the case is. Or like if you're able to like go back to the store and like buy more. But that's a strategy, man. That's a really good strategy for if you cannot buy a whole, but if you can't buy Paolo worth of inventory, right? Paolo probably go and spend $20,000 on a purchase invoice, right? But if you have $100 to spend and you kind of like want to buy multiple items, I would do that if I was just starting off, right? Like go and do test buys and know you can literally. And the cool thing about BJ's is like, if the item is listed and it's not a seasonal item, if that particular store 5 minutes down the road is sold out, you can find it in the one that's 20 minutes out, right? So that's what I do. The BJ's by me, I walk into it, I find an item, and then it's not a seasonal item, then I do like 5, 10, whatever the case is, see how well it sells, then I kind of start ramping it up from there. When I go back, I'm buying out 20, right? But I don't waste all my capital on the stuff in the big box stores, because unless it's something that I know, like, okay, it's gonna all sold out, right? Like we know the gingerbread house was gonna sell out, and I was making $8 on a profit on it. So I just said, we taking all, Omar, we taking all, right? But like anything else, like like regular items that I know that I'm gonna come back for, like Dove soap or whatever cases like that. Yeah, I will buy a couple, see how it's selling, and then go back for more, right? And then now I'm freeing up some more capital so I can I can literally buy more items versus like just trying to like get a buy box from one item. And I think that's the reason I'm able to have way more listings on Walmart than I have on Amazon.
Right. So a couple more things we close out in a bit here. One is just really about kind of the listing itself, and then the second one is really about a strategy I want you to be able to give to people. What's up, Santiago? How you feeling, sir?
Hey.
So depending on like how long you've been selling, kind of time of year, like versus back to school versus Q4, the strategy is a little bit different. So like I'll talk to Paolo and he'll be like, I'll buy an item that Amazon has 100% buy box. I can still get the buy box right in Q4, but generally speaking, you wouldn't do that. But like, does it work the same with Walmart being on an item as it does with Amazon? Like, are you scared if they're at 50% or 70%, or do you have more flexibility like to win the buy box? How does Walmart compete against you on a buy box?
So Walmart buy box situation is regional, right? So if the item is in a particular region, then you're gonna get the sale. The only thing that you would not be able to sell if Walmart is on is if Walmart has like specific deals with that brand. For example, Philips, right? I walked into a Walmart store and I found some Philips electric toothbrushes. They were on clearance. And man, I picked up every one of these bundles. I scraped the store, man. Thinking, I can sell it, because then I looked on and I saw that it was selling. But then I got home and then I tried listing it and I couldn't. So obviously open the ticket. And then that's the only thing that they will tell you no. Like if literally they have a deal with a particular brand, and that's all they're gonna tell you. They're just gonna let you know, like, yeah, you can't sell that here. Not give you a damn IP complaint and say like, yo, this is inauthentic and we're gonna flag your account. And it doesn't even hurt you as bad as it like your account held or whatever the case is. So that's what I do, man. I'm not scared to jump on something on Walmart, especially if I see that other sellers have sold before, right? So Walmart is very generous. And to Paulo's point, like, no, like I've seen situations where one person might have 60% of the buy box and Walmart has 20% of the buy box. Because again, it's basically where your item is, right? So if that person is doing seller fulfill and that item is selling really well in the area that they're living, that person will get the buy box. And sometimes it's a higher price, right? And obviously Walmart tanks like pricing on items, but it doesn't hurt you as bad, man. Like there's stuff that I sell and my price might be $15.99 and Walmart, which is the buy box, is going, and Walmart comes and then they say like I'm selling it and they sell it for $6. Guess what? The buy box will go down to $6. But as soon as that last item sells out from Walmart, or somebody else wants to buy it closer to my region and they want to get it shipped as fast as possible, I'm getting that buy box for that $15.99. So that $9 difference doesn't make a difference, right? Compared to like what it is from a buy box situation at Amazon, where once the price starts dipping, it's very hard to kind of go back up. They will kind of tell you like, hey, yeah, no, like you need to lower your buy box, so you kind of losing, stuff like that. So I'm not scared to jump on a listing that Walmart has. You don't want it because obviously they're gonna keep lowering. They're gonna lower, and you might be a situation where they have a lot of that item, so you might take a while to get a sale. But if I see like their pricing is not too far from my pricing, man, I'm jumping on that.
Okay. All right. So let's close, because I think you got a really great piece of sauce. Now I don't know if it works. I think it really only works in this one location, but if you have one of these by you, it's perfect. So give us your guidance on how to kill it in Costco business.
Ooh. Yeah, man. So my Costco play is same thing, right? Big box. And I don't like this. When I found the business distribution center, like I thought it was a gem. And I don't know if they have that in like multiple places. But the Costco business center, for those of you that don't know, like the Costco business center is where Costco basically offers to just businesses, right? So you have people with restaurants. Man, I saw they had a whole pig in the refrigerator. But like restaurants and like businesses go shop there, right? It's not like they can't shop at the other spot, but that area, that store, when I found it, it was really cool because now like I am going there and buy stuff for my business and I'm getting business pricing. Then the second piece, sorry. Hey, let me call you in 2 minutes. Then the second piece was just like all of the employees that work there, not all of them, but like at least 60, 65, 75% of the employees that work there, other than the cashiers, they're doing order picks, right? So they're the ones that, you do orders, you buying stuff online, they're picking it and shipping it out to you, right? So my strategy when I first start going there is just, obviously I'm finding stuff, and I don't go, and when I shop there, I don't shop with a shopping cart. I shop with a flatbed because that's how much stuff I find in there, right? But then I just start, like, I'm in the aisle with someone, and there's like literally 3 associates driving past me with carts, and I'm just looking at them just picking mad orders. So then I just like, let me scan whatever they're picking, right? And that's what I started doing. So if I go into an aisle and there's an aisle with like condiments or whatever the case is, and I see that everyone is coming and they go into that one pallet, then I'm gonna go scan that pallet, see what the pricing look on that pallet. And I was able to find, I'm able to find like a lot of stuff like that, right? Like stuff that obviously there's a demand there, right? So I'm going based on the demand. People are ordering it online. And if people are able to buy it, and obviously the ones with the Costco account is gonna get it for the good price, but then people that don't have a Costco account or whatever the case is, they will find it on Walmart, and not just Walmart, because I do find stuff there for both Amazon and Walmart. So again, 2 birds, 1 stone. I walk up to the pallet, scan it for Amazon first, see what it's going, see if it's going like a hot seller. Then I flip and I say, okay, if it's not selling, well, I'm gonna check to see Walmart, and then also basically look and see which one might have the better pricing. And when I say better pricing, is like who's gonna sell it for the most, which platform sells it for a higher price, and then I will buy it, man, and I will buy it. And same thing, do test buys, see how well the item is gonna move, and then not just block up all my capital with an item, just like, just buy a case or whatever the case is, because again, these places are 20 minutes maximum from me. So if I come home with the item or whatever case is, or I come home, ship it off the FBM, and then I see FBA that WFS, and I see that it's selling fast, I'm going back for more. And I've done that situation like numerous times, where like sometimes as soon as the item gets into Walmart, they say received, I get an order. And right there's my indication to just look at that particular data. Okay, the item is selling really fast. Let me just go back and buy more. So that's basically my strategy there. Find the items in these big box stores, see how well it's selling. So I use these stores as my warehouse, right? And I'm not worried about an item selling out and I'm not able to find it, because I can find another item in the same aisle like as soon as I go back. So I'm not really worried and say I got to find this particular ASIN, and I'm not chasing ASIN. I'm just chasing the business. And they have thousands of ASINs there that you'll find, and they have clearance too, right? So these big box stores, they do clearance, they do deals. Like today at BJ's doing the scan checkout, I didn't realize I could have clipped some coupons. So I got an item. The item was $12.99. I was able to pay $9.99 for it, because there was like a $2.50 $2 $3 coupon that basically BJ's allows you to clip while you're doing the checkout. And now my profit, I was profitable already at the $12.99, right? Now I'm getting $3 off that item. So now I'm making $3 more on my profit. So yeah, I'm a big fan of these big box retails, man. And it works well with Walmart. Once Walmart lets you into the category, you don't have to worry about the brand. Not for everything, don't get me wrong. But if I'm selling lotion or whatever the case is, I can sell 8 out of 10 lotions. The 2 that I can sell will probably be someone, a company that's gonna be like real strict with their brand or whatever the case is, and won't give you access to the brand to selling for it. Or they might have like strategic deals with Walmart. So yeah, that's my strategy, man. I'm cooking with that.
Listen, I love it, man. Aquino comes back with more of the sauce. For me, like, I think a lot of people are either very new or on Walmart or thinking about it. So having you have that first deep dive and then, talk a little bit more about the sourcing. Because I think that scares a lot of people because all you hear about it is, Martyr sucks or the data sucks or whatever the case may be. And it's a little scary, but, you've broken down multiple ways to get around that. Plus with some of the incentives, I think the ad spend. So like somebody like Can, who's doing, really well with, paid ads, that incentive, like I'm not selling nowhere. I'm not even in your atmosphere with sales. And I just got $2,000. Like I started it last night. I got $2,000. I'm nobody. So yeah. You're going to get that $2,000 and think about that. I was just looking, I'm like on the call. We're on a call right now. I'm looking at my account. I'm like, oh, they want me to spend $1. Like the suggested ad was $1 for this thing. The thing costs like maybe like $15. Like, so like that $1 is a lot to spend. Right. And you're only spending 2 cents on your Amazon stuff. But then I just thought about it. I'm like, this is my money. Who cares? Right. So it's free money. So like you were saying, you're just like, they're like paying you to sell on the platform. Right. Yeah. So there's a lot of reasons to get on Walmart. We'll have you back. We'll have some continued conversations around this. But I really just want to get people thinking about it because a lot of us, Paolo, how many Section 3s have you had in the last 24 hours? Like 8, right? So he understands, like, especially for a seller his size, like losing a platform could really be devastating to your cash flow and your business. And having a backup like Walmart, or in this case, Aquino's case, is talking about his primary platform now that he's transitioned over. That diversification could really be a game changer if something happens with Amazon or they change things around. Or maybe, hey, listen, if you're making $10,000 a month, maybe it's another 2,000, right? So nobody wants to give away money. So if you can get some extra money by diversifying, it just makes a lot of sense. So we'll close out for tonight, but we are live streaming in about 50 minutes. That's the Q4 Hangout. It's just a great place to come meet sellers like you, ask questions, have fun, laugh a little bit, things of that nature. But is this something with what?
Yeah, I wanted to just show like a quick brief like how I do it.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
Obviously, because Martyr sucks, as we say, like for us, but like clearly, right? Just a random item, right? So how I do it, and again, I might not be a pro, but it works well for me, like when I'm sourcing. So and I don't know if anybody knows this site, but just a random item, right? So if I hit the Martyr, whatever it's called, the bookmark thing, I won't be able to get the item, but I can either search the keyword, right? The item name, right? Put it in here, and basically it will be able to pull up some items, and I could be able to see if I can find it. So basically, look how easy it is for me to find that item, right? I was able to find it within a couple of seconds. But how I do it, obviously, I source for Amazon, and then I use Walmart as a byproduct, right? So if you right click on the item, even you might be sourcing some sites that might have like UPC codes or whatever the case is. Sometimes they have it down in the specification, but this one doesn't have it. But you right click and you hit search seller amp, and seller amp will pull the item up for you, right? Then I will just take the UPC code for the item. Obviously, you see Amazon is selling it for $38, it's getting it for $29.99, whatever the case is. You kind of figure that out. But then I will now open the Martyr app because I just got the UPC, right? And I dropped the UPC in there, and now I'm seeing that Walmart is also selling the item, right? I can see which listing I can put it on. Right, so this listing is $36.99. It's 418 reviews. This one has 1,000 reviews. It's less pricing, but I can basically play around and say which one I can kind of like go for. Obviously, Amazon uses the data and gives you and said this item will sell 1,000 times a month because they know how it sells. Walmart goes by reviews, right? So if an item has a lot of reviews, then more than likely that item is basically selling because people are doing reviews on it. But clearly here, right? This item, Walmart is selling it. There's 2 sellers on it, right? So that person is not even scared, right? So they jumped on it while Walmart is on it. But over the past 90 days, you see Walmart is eating the buy box. But if I open this up, hopefully, right, they're getting some sales, but Walmart basically has a lot of that item. So this won't be an item I will go heavy on if I'm gonna take it anywhere, right? Because clearly Walmart is basically controlling the buy box for a very long time. The last time someone got a sale on it outside, and sometimes this data could be like off too, but basically that's what I do, man. Like I basically go and see how well the items sell. Last time, if someone else is getting the buy box and someone getting the sales from that item, Walmart is taking 91% of the buy box on here, so they're basically controlling it. You basically have to wait till they sell out most times to kind of get the sale. But you see right here, even though the person dropped their buy box to $32, Walmart is still winning it at $34. All he has to do is put his pricing at the same price as Walmart, right? So that person is possibly thinking from an Amazon perspective, let me drop my price and let me see if I can get the buy box. But you put it at the same price, if wherever your item is stored at, whatever shipped from, is going to get to the customer faster, you're going to get that sale. Believe me on that. But I just want to kind of show like how easy it is to kind of source. It's not as hard. You might not be able to like have the same, designs and stuff like sell an amp or whatever the case is, but you find any item that is selling and you search for it from an Amazon perspective, you kind of do the reverse. I love selling stuff like that, like coffee makers and stuff like that on Walmart. Sells like crazy, but you can make that happen. You can make that happen on there as well. But I just wanted to show that little piece if we have more time or whatever case. But yeah, anybody want me to kind of like run that down with them, definitely will be able to do that. Look, I just found an item right here. Look at that. But right, this is perfect, right? Is it the same item? It looks similar, probably not, whatever, but I can find a brand, find the item, see what it's going for, and then more than likely, if it's a big brand like that, it's probably going to be gated. But I will use that information because Seller Amp has all the information and see, okay, that item is selling 6K times a month. Let me take the same UPC, right? And it has IP complaint on this particular item. But I will go to Martyr, take that same UPC, drop it in there, and if that item is still selling 6 times a month, I guarantee you it's probably on Walmart. And boom, look at that, right? Same item, whichever one, and you can jump on there, right? Or as long as you have access to sell the category. So now you can find that item, sell it, test buy it, whatever the case is. For me, like I don't have a problem selling any household items on Walmart. And look at this buy box is basically going crazy. It's basically, I don't know if this is gonna load, but it's selling out. This person is selling it for $84. Last sale was last month. It's sold out, so no sellers have it in stock. So once you find that item and you list it, that item will get you a sale within no time. So me and Brian was able to run up a whole bunch of Brian got the Mr. Coffee.
From Ollie's, right?
Yeah, from Ollie's, and all of it was sold out this weekend. So last week he hit me up and he was like, hey, look, Mr. Coffee, you able to sell that? Because it's so difficult to get it for that on Amazon. But we listed it on Amazon. He took 6. I went and grabbed the next 6, and my 6 sold out. He told me his sold out. So get on Walmart, man. You guys will not. You will be happy that you do.
All right, I love it. All right, we're going to shut it down. We got the call coming up at 11. So if you guys are around, look for the live stream. Otherwise, we'll be back live streaming tomorrow. We're going to do an earlier live stream tomorrow at 9 o'clock for a couple of my Cali folks. But thanks for stopping in. Aquino, thanks for breaking down the sauce, man. And we'll connect, figure out when we can source. If it's not this week, maybe next.
All right, man.
All right, everybody. You guys have a great night.
All right, bye.
Bye, everyone.